So today we're going to talk all about dark consciousness and how I see it and how it sort of relates to the light grid and the way that consciousness already exists. And just remember, everything that I talk about is, from my perspective, it is my opinion and it's how I see things right now, because I have spoken about this before, but what I find is that there's so many things that I learn or bring in as new information, and as I continue my learning journey and really try to understand and take on so many other concepts and ideas and beliefs, and really try to find that place that feels comfortable for me, that the things that I talk about and the things that I believe in sometimes change. They can alter dramatically, where I can be all the way over in this corner and whoosh all the way over to another corner. Whereas other things may just slightly expand, or the knowledge may increase, or, my understanding may be a little bit deeper, or I've had more experience with something. But so it's hard when you're creating information like this, when you're creating videos and you're creating podcasts, and I see this with other people that I follow and watch as well, is that, the information might be relevant right now, and this is when it needs to be heard and listened to, because it will change down the track. It will get deeper, better, more insightful, more helpful, but the information still needs to come out. So when you ever hear anything, just know that it was always perfect for that person when they were talking about it right then. And of course, we don't need to place any judgment on people's ideas or thoughts or beliefs, but I even find watching my own things how it's quite interesting to see, whoa, remember when you believed all this stuff? And it's like, no, that's not even true for me in any way whatsoever now. But anyway, that's enough about that. So I'm going to try and do a general overview of how I see things now. And I have briefly spoken about this, but I really want to try and give you more of an understanding of how I see how everything works together, because I came to the realization the other day that my current knowings and understanding is like, it's like I'm at the end of the dead end street. I feel like I have learnt enough about the options and the paths that I want to go down, and there's nothing new that can come on board for me now. The only thing I can do now is expand and choose which areas I want to be in. And I'm using my hands in a way. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can't see me doing this, but it's like you're standing in the middle. There's all these crossroads, and I've heard or learned or have some knowledge of all these different understandings and topics and ideas and thoughts. And it's up to me now to whether I want to go down this path and delve into this, or go down this path and delve into that. So I feel like this is it. This is the end for me now. Like, I'm not saying that in a dramatic way, like, oh my God, it's all over, you come full circle. But don't worry, I'm going to wrap it up at the end, because there is a reason why I feel like this is the end now. I feel like this is like, I have it all now. It's up to me. It's up to me on where I want to grow and how I want to do blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's talk about the light grid. If you are someone who understands what the light grid is, what consciousness is, what soul and a human is, and I'm going to make the presumption that if you are listening to me, that you already have some understanding that we are this human, we are living in this 3D world, and we have a soul. And one of the things I used to talk a lot about was how our soul was the true essence of who we were, and our soul was the was the energetic vibrational frequency that connected us to the oneness of everything. And the oneness of everything, as I saw it and still do under the current light grid, is a consciousness where everything exists, where we are all connected in some way. The way that I started to see it was as light vibrational frequencies. So like these energetic ribbons of light. And of course, this is really hard to explain what's in your head sometimes. I really need to go down the path of graphic design, because if you could get those designs out of my head and into something that people can see, it would be so good. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. So the way that I see it is this light consciousness and this electrical vibration. I could see the oneness of everything, where all these beautiful strands were constantly moving, like slow movement, like a gentle wave, and where the energetic frequency of different topics or understandings would grow or lessen. You could see that in consciousness. So when something big happened, like if we had a pandemic, you could see how there was so much energy sitting in this area because of whatever was happening in the outside world. So you could treat it like an image that you could zoom in, and you could go to different places. You could have a look at different topics, but mostly what I used it for, sometimes I could just sit in there and absorb, see what's happening, what are you feeling, or what I mostly used it for was for myself, where I would see what options I had. So like looking at our timelines, because under this one consciousness we can have different timelines. We can have different outcomes. We can have different existences. We can have past lives, future lives. We can have lives on other planets or star systems, or whatever it is, whatever you want to look at. It's all part of this oneness. So I would sit in there and I could be okay, just say it was, I want to be a millionaire and I want this mansion and I want this house. Where is this timeline? And I would be able to see it, and then it'd be, okay, where is that strand of that timeline? How can I get that closer to me? And then I would focus on trying to pull that timeline towards me. But what would happen is, as I was trying to bring that closer to me, there would be things that would happen in my physical external world that I would need to address. And the way that I was viewing that, and this is how most of the whole oneness, light consciousness, healing, ascension, whatever you want to call it, bases our growth on, is when these things come up, is to work on what's the belief behind it, what's the story behind it, what's the lesson, what is it teaching you, what is the shadow, what do you need to work on, what do you need to let go of. So for instance, if I was trying to bring money to me and then a bill would come up, and then it'd be, oh my God, what the hell, I'm trying to get money, not have to fork out money that I don't have. And so then that would bring up the idea of, I never have enough money. I always have so many bills. It's so hard to make money, blah, blah, blah. And we could write a story about how many times that has happened to us in this life, how many times it happened in a past life. We could look at all the money stories that we were taught from our parents, from our friends, from growing up, from our actual experiences that we had in this life form. So there'd be so many ways that we would see that, and then we would look at that and go, okay, how can we alchemize that? How can we remove that belief? Because if you listen to a lot of people, including me, I was saying that you need to get rid of that belief, you need to get rid of that story in the whole mindset, so that you can move forward further towards your goal, because it's only those beliefs that are holding you back. Because under the law of attraction, the basic rules is everything already exists. So in that oneness of the universe, where everything exists. Whatever you want is already there. You just need to match the vibrational frequency of it. So if I was trying to become a millionaire and it's vibrating up here, and you can't see my hand, I'm moving it in a rapid way like a vibration. If your $1 million self is over here, but Anna right now is down here, and now I'm moving my hand in a lower place with a different vibration, they're not going to match. They're not going to find each other. So that is basic manifestation rules. So for us to get to that place where we can get ourselves to match that energetic vibration of being a millionaire or whatever it is, we need to get rid of those beliefs, because it's only the beliefs that are holding us back from believing that we are able to achieve those things that we really desire and that we're really trying to bring closer to us. So that was how I saw the light grid. That was the basis of how most healers, teachers, coaches will guide you towards working towards the things that you want to manifest. Of course, what happens with that, and there are so many different tools, modalities, techniques, ideas, thoughts, etc., that are here to help us work on those beliefs. There is so many different things that you can do, and I've said this so many times. Like there has to be one that you can find that works for you. And I am not here to tell you which ones are good, which ones are bad, because I think every single one of them has a benefit for someone else. That's why they've been created, because whether, you know, this tool right here is going to benefit one person or whether it's going to benefit 1 billion people, it's still going to benefit someone. And that's why it's sort of come about. It's because it's going to help someone somewhere. And you may not be able to find exactly the right one for you, and you may move through so many different ones. You may try out different ones and use this one for a period of time and this one for a short period of time, this one once, or use a bit of this with a bit of that, or find modalities and tools and then create your own. You could be, well, I like this part of this one and this part of this one. This is what works for me. So it doesn't matter what you use or what you do, but what I found was, whilst operating in the light grid was, and let me tell you, I did a lot of work on my emotions, beliefs. And I've said this many times, and I feel like I am saying this sentence so many times, but I've spoken about this so many times before. So I know how to do the work. I know how to look at those beliefs, look at those emotions, look at those stories, look at those shadows. I know how to try a tool. I know how to master a tool. But what I found was, because some of the modalities will advise you to look into your past of where that has come up. So a lot of the modalities that I used, and the ones that I even taught people, was to look at, okay, this is happening now, so we'll use that money one again. For instance, it wouldn't have been just looking at what I was thinking right now about money. It was, when else have I thought about that? So I would go back to my past in my life and see where that was something that had happened before. And then in other modalities, I would look at places where that has happened in other timelines or other lives or whatever it was. I would group it together and go backwards to all these places where this was happening. And then I would bring them all into my body and then find a way to remove them, work on them, or release them, get rid of them, whatever I was doing. But I had to keep doing it. They were never actually gone. And I know this isn't everyone. I know there's going to be lots of people who said, no, I got rid of this, I got rid of that. For me, this is what's happened for me. So I would continually work on what felt like the same fucking shit over and over and over again. It's like, either I don't believe in what I am doing, or it's not working for me. And I'm not saying that these aren't going to work for people and they haven't done amazing things for so many people, because they have. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of crap that I probably have let go because of that, all that work that I was doing. But I still still kept finding how we were doing that. Oh, we're moving forward, but okay, now we're back here again. Oh, okay, we'll go over this again. And fuck me, it was getting boring. Like, I don't like redoing things. I don't like having to start again. This is why I am terrible at video games. I cannot do it. If there are games where they are like level based and you have to go through this process and get this person and pick that up and do that, and you're nearly at the end and you die and you got to go back and start again. No, I'm not doing that. I can't. It's not my thing. So that was one of the things that I was struggling with whilst I was in the light grid, was that constant forwards, backwards, or that constant, oh, look at this amazing thing that happened. Oh, crap. Here I am. I'm back down here. Oh, crap. Look at this that's happened outside that I have to go deal with. And because everyone says, oh no, that just means you're about to up level, you know, if something really bad happens, or if you're feeling down, or something's not working out the way you want, or you're having a lull, don't worry, it'll pass, just work through it, use your tools, and then something's better on the other side. And I did believe that, and I did find that after those low moments, I would project back up, and it could be a little bit higher than where you were when you first started. So that's what I thought was the normal, but it was like, is it? There has to be another way. But because everybody is saying that, and this is what I'm experiencing, I thought that that was the only way. So fast forward to, what is that? As usual, wrong phone. There are orbs everywhere on the screen, as usual, every time I record. But part of that, feeling frustrated with it all and feeling like there had to be another way. It was something that I sort of kept to myself. I didn't really speak out loud. Of course, people may hear me whinge about stuff, but I just thought that that's just the way it was, like a lot of people do. That's just the way it is, and you just need to buckle up and move through it. But it wasn't until, and I've said all this in my other podcasts, I'm not going to go back through that, about, you know, when, on my husband's passing and his anniversary, and how I went into a very deep, dark place for a little while, and how I found this new awareness of the dark consciousness. So the way that I see it, so where we have our light grid and our consciousness, now I see it as this vibrational frequency. I'm going to use the word ball of light. It's not really a ball. It's more of a, I don't even know what the word is. I'm not going to say blob because that gives it no justice. But there's beautiful energetic strands of light. Think of a messy bundle of Christmas lights, you know, when they're all tangled up. So it's like that, right? However, the way I used to see it, and I used to say all the time that the universe as I saw it, that whole oneness, was infinite and complete, which meant that everything that could exist already existed. However, it was also infinite, where it never ended. And I still believe that our consciousness is complete and infinite, in whatever way that looks like. But when I had that image of how our light consciousness sat in my mind, there was I'm going to use the word shadow. It's funny that that's the word that we use, because that's what I'll be talking about in a moment. But it was literally, if you imagine that ball as being these electrical strands of light, whatever light looks like for you. It could be colorful, it could just be white. But on the edge, there's that shadow. And if you, like right now, I have a light on up here. And if I look at the edge of that light, there is a darkness around it. And it's not like, oh my God, there's black around it. It's like a shadow. It's like a shaded darkness on the outside of the light. And that's how I see the consciousness. So once I discovered this whole new awareness of dark consciousness, and how, to me, it is represented as that shadow on the outside of the light grid. And if you take on board,
I found this on the web.
Oops, Siri's nosy. And the way it was described to me was that hic sunt draconis, which is that here lies dragons, under the story of the maps that they used to create, where they used to write that because they didn't want explorers to go beyond that space, because they wanted to make people feel scared or worry that there were dragons and monsters. And this is when they used to think of, dragons as being bad, or something that was going to hurt you in some way. So they'd put that on maps so you didn't go out there. And it's funny because once I had all that awareness come into me, it was like my own dragon woke up. And it's like the dark consciousness is literally just me and the dragon and this field of dark. And like, that can sort of sound like, that doesn't sound fun. It sounds, like you're hopping on a fictional character and you're looking into nothing. But it's actually the opposite of what you would originally think about it, because the way that I see it is, it's this space of opportunity. It's a space of new creation. It's a space where nothing exists. It is waiting for you to create. So the way that dark consciousness, so the way that I've been told how dark consciousness came about, and I don't know, I have not dived into this. I can't tell you this is what I 100% believe, but I'll just tell you how it sort of come into my field, that it was part of an expansion of the light consciousness, where it started to see how everything on the light grid started to become more of recycled shadow creations. And what I mean by that is, because under that light consciousness, and we are drawing in from what is, and everyone is still working on their shadows and their emotions, and they're not always fully releasing them. When they are trying to create things, they are still holding part of that shadow with them in their creation process. So even though they're moving forward and they're creating all these amazing things and drawing on all this amazing knowledge of things that already exists, they're bringing it forward and bringing it out with shadow. So there's not as much purity as there used to be, because as we sort of expand and grow over time with the amount of the experiences and the lives that have existed at this point in time, where we are looking at it from this human, where we are right now in this 3D, the way we were manifesting and bringing things in was shadowed. So everything in that light grid became more shadowed, because if you look at coaches and healers and teachers, they would come in teaching the essence of what light consciousness is about, but they would be doing that with shadow. And it wasn't purposely, or, watch me, I'm going to shadow you all, or creating this world of people who were consistently shadowed. It's just the way that they were bringing information in, or the way that they were being taught, was from coaches and healers, etc., with shadow. So we're just continually recycling the shadow. It's just going up and down and around and continually being pulled all around. And I'm moving my hands around as if you could see the threads just It's like, it's where you have, just say you have a washing machine and it's not turned on, and there's a bit of dirt sitting up on the side of your washing machine. When you turn that washing machine on and it starts, doing its little agitation or whatever, it starts bringing that that dirt that's on the side there in through everything else. And if you're not draining that or going to the next cycle of that wash, you're just continually mixing that around, because this is the existence, right? That washing machine that's filled with water that's holding that dirt, that's the consciousness that's still just recycling. Yes, there'll be bits that'll be beautiful and clear, but then there'll be bits that aren't. So the dark portal was created when consciousness decided to create a light that was the lightest light, the purest form of light, which is black light. The dark light, like you think of a black light, like you can see how much that illuminates things under those special dark lights, right? So the dark portal then was created as an extension, and this is the way that I see it. Don't quote me and put this into gospel, but this is the way that I briefly understand it, because I'm bringing it into my own awareness. So the way that I see it is, this dark portal was created. There are dark codes. There is a dark body that we hold. I don't have an answer whether everyone has that. The way that I've heard is that they do. But I think it's individual on whether you are going to come online with your dark consciousness. But the way that I see it and feel it is that me talking about this, a lot of people will go, oh my God, this sounds like crap, which I totally get. So it's not for you. Yet there will be people who will hear me talk about this and will go, oh my God, yes, 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 yes. You are speaking my language. I've finally found home. Because this is how it was for me when I started hearing people talk about it. So the way that I heard it was that when this dark portal was open, which was back in 2018, the dark codes came through to start to create this new consciousness, this new form of light for whoever it was going to draw in to do it. And it's not many people that I've found so far that speak about this. That's why I feel like it's not going to be for everyone right now, but I do honestly feel the validity to this new awareness, and I'll just continue speaking, and anyone who's listening will sort of go, or I'll go, oh my God, or I'll go, oh no, nope. But the way that the dark consciousness works, and this is how I see it, this is my awareness right now, is that on the light grid, in light consciousness, where we are drawing in experiences and the things that we want to manifest based on what already exists. What we teach and the things that we bring in and download is based on what already exists. So whilst you will start tuning into what people say who are light workers, who are operating from the light grid and the oneness of everything, you will start to hear similar messages from people, even though that they're delivered and brought in different ways, because remember, everybody needs someone or something different for them to be able to connect to. Obviously, there's not one person who's going to appeal to everyone. That's just not the way it's going to work. So that's why everyone sort of brings in the same information on the light grid, but in their own individual ways, so that they can get their energetic matches for the people that they are meant to help or grow or assist on their journey. Whereas over in the dark, the purpose of the dark consciousness is to give us the chance to shine that black light, that most purest form of light, that dark light on your shadows, your monsters, your dragons, to bring them into the service, to be able to really sit with them, allow them, really let them be heard, so that then you can alchemize them and then turn them into your actual truth. So my visualization for this is, so whilst I was talking about my dragon, it's like sitting on a black mountain in the void of nothingness, and behind me are monsters. What's a monster anyway? To all of us, a monster is going to be something different. The way that my mind has created an image is, I don't like watching horror shows. I think they're ridiculous. Yes, they scare me. However, because of this whole new consciousness and darkness, the monsters that I've created behind me are similar or images of those things that I don't like watching in horror films. And how I use them now is bring them in so I can face them and see what the fear actually is of them. Because when you look at it this way, if you think of, a superhero versus a villain, or, a monster versus a hero. Now, the superhero or the good guys always, oh, hey guys, we're going to go save this. Should we do this? Should we do that? Hey team, let's all work together and go and do this. Let's save the country, whatever. Versus if you're a monster or the baddie, they're just doing what they want. They are normally doing something with no regard for anyone or anything else around them. They are just working towards what they want. They are just being who they are. They're not worrying about what people think. They are not worrying about having any fears. They are just being themselves. So when you look at it from that point of view, by allowing your monsters or your villains, whatever you want to call them, to the surface, you are literally allowing the true essence of whatever that thing is that you're scared of come to the surface, so it can fully be seen and fully be expressed and fully be investigated in a way. Because if you're holding your monster back, whatever it is, like, I don't know, just say it was, say you were scared of, we'll do something really simple, doing a live video, right? And that was one of your monsters, and you let that monster come in, right? Your monster can look like whatever it wants to look like. But if you went and sat down with that monster, now this is over in the dark, we're doing that. If previously, before going in the dark, you were sort of like, yeah, I kind of going to look at that. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to use some modalities. I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and work through that. Because you know what that fear was. So you would try and overcome it, right? So it would be, okay, I'm going to do a live video. I'm going to do it. It's going to be scary. And I'm talking about this because this is something I had to do. So I know this fear very, very well. But what I would do is, because I knew I had that fear, I would just go and do whatever that fear was to try and counteract it. And I can tell you, even just doing those videos, it didn't really fully cure the fear. Did I do a million live videos? No. Could it have become easier? Possibly. But did I even like doing them? Not really. And it wasn't because of, oh my God, I'm so scared of people, I don't want to move, which was one of my fears. It was something that, even though I was trying to work through it and trying to do the opposite of what I was scared of, I didn't actually fully listen to it. I didn't actually sit down with that fear and go, why, how, who? Yes, I may have looked at where that fear could have come from, where it's happened in the past, blah, blah, blah. But the way that I'm doing it over here in the dark, and this is where we're using the shadow alchemy, is that I'm going to listen to that fear. So then my fear of going live monster would say, I don't want to go live. And we could do this whole discussion, a discussion on why it was fearing that right now. Why was it thinking that that was a fear that I needed to hold on to? How was it making me feel? What was the actual underlying fear of that original fear? And what I mean by that is, you know, fear of going live is not really a fear of going live, right? It's a fear of being seen, or a fear of being judged, or a fear of being rejected. It's not really you're scared of doing a live video. It's you're scared of whatever the outcome is of you doing that action. So by allowing that fear to speak, and then there's a whole process that we use through shadow alchemy with the archetypes, and you know, really sort of looking at the shadow or the fear-based archetype and being able to disprove it, alchemize it, and then really turn it into that power archetype, that real truth of who we are. What we're doing is that monster, once we turn it into that power archetype, that becomes our truth. And then as we continue to turn that shadow into our truth, it becomes our genius. So that energy, that frequency of that monster that we were holding onto behind us, we are now using that as a tool, as a energy source, if you will, that is going to power us into the truth of who we are. And this is where our genius comes in, and this is the biggest piece of the dark consciousness, and what the whole darkness is all about, is being able to shine that light on those shadows, those monsters, that darkness, by using the purest form of light, by highlighting it. Like, you know, imagine a spotlight shining on that monster saying, hey, tell me everything. Once we're doing that, that means we're using that monster that we were scared of, that we were hiding in the back of our closet. We are bringing it out. We are letting it be seen, and then we are alchemizing it and turning it into the most potent, pure energy source that we have, which is our truth. Because once we can turn that fear into our truth, it is pure energy. So we are using all those fears to become our power. And that's, it's amazing. And for me, it was, I don't have the words that I can describe how different that feels for me when working through something. And because we're looking at that monster and we're alchemizing it, we're hearing it, and we're using this whole process through shadow alchemy of being able to eliminate that fear permanently. Like, yes, of course, there may be things that come up that you still need to work on, but the process of working from that shadowed monster, turning it into your genius, truth, potent energy, you can't really sort of bring that fear back in like it was before. There is no way after doing this process that it's like, oh my God, I'm so scared to go live. I'm so scared to go live. I can't do it. You can't go back to that, because you have shone that light on it so brightly and fiercely, and you were able to destroy it, smash it into pieces. It can't come back together. It can't hold you back anymore. And it's like, wow, where'd that fear go? Sure, there may be times where, like, for instance, just say we've smashed that one, right? We're not scared of going live. Annie, you want to go live? Sure, I'll go live. Let's do it. Just say it was, hey, you want to go live to the whole world right now? You're like, oh my God, the whole world. Fuck it. Blah, blah, blah. And we already instigate our power archetype. We know that if that fear comes up, it is literally nothing anymore. There's no more of that. Like, I can tell you that first fear, when I did my first live video, I thought someone was like trying to kill me. The pain, I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe. It was it was so like, what? But see, once you've smashed these fears, they can't come back. That fear cannot come back. There is no way it can come back like that ever again. So guess what? That shadow's gone. Boom. Just like that. I've destroyed it. It no longer exists. If there's a little hint of it, I can flip it like that. And that's the whole part of the whole essence of the dark consciousness, is creating something from your pure genius. But your pure genius will only come when you have no shadows. So where I was explaining how I sit on my dragon and I can see into the void, the darkness of nothingness, it's like the most, like, to me, it excites me so much, because it's that possibility of whatever you want. It's not me drawing in on something that someone else has done, or something that I've seen that I thought, oh my God, that would be so awesome, I want to do that. I can sit there and go, I want to create this. Let's do it. And we create something new, but it's coming straight from our pure genius. So it's something that you can't teach. It's not something that you can Google and find it. It will literally come from the trueness of who you are, your own truth, your own genius, your own true spirit. After you've moved all those shadows, your genius is going to be able to be seen and to be heard, because when we're sitting in this shadowed self, all our thoughts and ideas aren't really our own. They're a little bit crowded in judgment. And if you're still operating on the light grid, they're drawing on the things that already exist. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you want to stay and that's how you want to be. But for me, I always felt like there was so much more. I always felt like that can't be it. There has to be so much more. And this is why the dark for me has been such a, I'm going to say a warm embrace, but that's not a sentence that you put together as the dark is like a warm embrace. It's not. It's giving me the power to use the scariest and the hardest parts of your life and being able to turn them into the pure genius of self. And that is like polar opposites, but that's why it works so well. It's sitting in those fears and really allowing them to come through to create the truth and our genius self, to be able to create and do and achieve all the things that we can't even imagine right now because we're too flooded in shadow. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm speaking, but this excites me so much that I can't even put it into words. And I know that I could have this conversation to 1 million people and 1 million people would not get it and would not go, oh my God, tell me more. I get it. It doesn't make sense, especially like people who are over in the light grid. It's, no, we'll do it like this and, we'll spread love and we're all one. And we'll draw on from this and we'll use all these tools. But for me, over here in the dark, it's not about the oneness. It's about being an individual. And that doesn't mean being a loner, not having friends, not allowing the outside world. That's not what it is, because I honestly believe that me being over here in this dark consciousness and allowing me to really individuate myself by allowing all those fears and all those shadows to really come through and really be heard, but then be able to alchemize them and turn them into my power, into my truth, into my genius, where I can become the God that I am. Because once we get to that process, we literally get the intuition for every single thing that we need. I can now sit over here in my genius self, knowing that I don't need anything else. Like, nothing. It's crazy, because over here, I was one of those people that, give me all the oracle cards, give me tarot cards, give me crystals, give me incense sticks, give me this, give me that, you name it, I was on it. Over here in the dark, it's all gone. I've just let it all go. And the only thing that I'm doing at the moment is making sure as I'm smashing the crap out of those freaking shadows, turning it into my superpower so that I can just operate through my individual intuition and activate my pure genius. Having said everything that I've just said, with the excitement in my voice and the explanation that I've given, there's still one more thing that I want to say. Everything I said was a lie. However, everything I said is also a truth. You see, the way that everything has sort of formulated, and like I was talking in the beginning, how I feel like I'm at this center and I just need to choose where I want to go. It's because we create our own reality. We choose the beliefs that we want to hold on to. We always get to think and believe and do whatever it is that we think is the right thing to believe or do in that moment. And there is no right or wrong way. There is no this way or that way. It's just a way. It's just a belief. It's just a truth. And whilst I'm here explaining all about the dark consciousness, to someone else, that is absolute bullshit. Yet to someone else, even just talking about the oneness of our existence is just bullshit. And nobody's wrong, but nobody's right either. We are emotional 3D beings, and I honestly believe that we have the power to create whatever world we want to live in based on the beliefs that we want to be true for us. And for me, right now, operating from this place of this dark consciousness where I get to highlight my shadows, alchemize them, and turn them into my genius truth, that's where my beliefs lie right now. Will that last for the next 20 years? Who knows? Knowing Anna, I can guarantee you that it probably won't. But this is where I am right now, and we get to choose this. I know there will be many people who will find something and they will stick with that for the rest of their lives, and there is nothing wrong with that. I know myself is a person who will always try different things, try and look at new things, try and really sort of jump into different areas, different ideas, different thoughts. But this is where I am right now. This is what I believe in right now. But I just want to say to you, whatever you believe to be true right now is 100% true for you right now. And I think if everyone sort of took a step back and sort of looked at it from that perspective, that what everybody else is talking about and what they believe to be true right now is true, and we didn't have the need to go and comment or tell everybody else what their opinion is when no one asked for it. If we all just allowed everyone to sit in our own truths, we would get so much further towards the true genius of who we are and the true creation of everything that we desire, because we're spending that energy on ourselves instead of worrying about everyone else. And I'm speaking from someone who would look at other things that people said and went, ugh, roll my eyes and go, ugh, are you serious? That's not right. I don't see it like that anymore. I have now come full circle where I have learnt it all, and now I just choose what I want to believe. And if I don't like what the beliefs are or what people are saying out there, I can just create my own truth. And that becomes my truth. And all I need then, if there is one other person who resonates with what I am saying, that makes me a leader. That means that there is someone else who can agree to my beliefs or whatever my truth is in that moment. And that's a fascinating piece of information. It's something that I hope you all really think about, because we don't need to follow what everyone else is believing. And this is something that's taken me a long time, is that trying to not be part of the tribe anymore, because we all ultimately have that inbuilt need to get that acceptance and that security from everyone else around us. But now that I'm able to see it in a different light and see the whole power of the individuation, it's just amazing how much light that throws on some of the other areas or the ways that I was being or acting around certain things no longer resonates. So if there's nothing that you've heard today that resonates with you except this, I would love if you could take this on board and you think about it. Everything that you believe is true because you believe it, and that's it. And that goes for everyone. So just look at that. Next time someone says something, anything, whatever they say, like they may tell you that it's nighttime when the sun is shining. Look at it as if that is their own belief, that is their own truth, and see how it makes your life any different. Now, guys, I think I've spoken for a while today. There's so much more that I want to say about this and so many more things that we can talk about in the future, but this is it for our chat today. I hope that has given you a little bit more of an understanding about it. And if you want to know more, keep listening, because there's a lot more coming. All right. Thanks, guys. I will be talking and speaking to you again really soon.